Okay.
But as far as my question, topics like the existence of dinosaurs, which has been very entertaining saga up until now, I just would like to know what you guys think about how the Great Pyramids were made. I'd like to say that I'm convinced that it was made by a technologically advanced society that was long lost. Not speaking aliens, just like pre-deluge. The claim is they were erased from the surface of the earth pretty much by the Great Flood.
I think it was made by slaves, by Arabs, and they used sand as scaffolding to pile it up high, and they would make a layer by rolling giant stones on logs, and they would place it, and then they would add sand to that layer, and then do it again, and they kept going to the top. So by the time they were at the top, you just saw this massive hill of sand, and then they blew or took the sand away over time, and you had a pyramid. Anyway, thanks for calling.
Okay.
Aliens did not make the fucking pyramids. Jesus Christ. This is what happens. It's funny because I always say we don't need education. Stop education. And then all these uneducated people clearly have a craving for knowledge and are coming up with bullshit like dinosaurs don't exist. Egyptians didn't make the pyramids. 9/11 was a bunch of...
Ronald McDonald?
Go ahead, our dog. I'm sure my kids are okay.
Ronald? Am I
Hello?
still connected here? Yeah, everything's fine on our end here. Let's try. I'll keep him on and then take somebody else to see if... Matt.
Hello?
Oh, it does work. Hello?
You hear me?
Who's this?
Hi. Matt Andrews.
Gotcha. All right. What's up?
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't know if Gavin remembers me. We did like a podcast together a while ago, but I was wondering what his opinion on Sebastian Gorka is. Just like food for thought.
I remember you. We were at this business retreat, and I did a podcast with you. I made fun of you a lot for being a virgin. I barely remembered. I was wasted. And you tried to get Sebastian Gorka on the show, and he said, fuck you, because you had Loomer on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically I'd said, like, I just gave him my list of previous guests because I figured that would maybe urge him to do it. And he goes, Loomer, no thanks. And I was like, well, I don't know why you would say that, but why does talking to someone make you not want to do it? And he goes, well, it means that you endorse that guest and she's a loon or something like that. And then I sent it to Laura and she was like, yeah, he's always been an asshole. So I was wondering what you thought.
Yeah, I don't know Sebastian Gorka very well. He seems like a pretty cool guy the few times I've hung out, spoken to him. But I do resent this concept of having a guest makes for an hour and a half. It's painfully boring. Anyway, thanks for calling. Sorry you didn't get Gorka. Got a long way to go, my friend.
I'm going to try Ronnie. Ronnie. Or Tom.
10,000 hours, Matt. 10,000 hours. You've been doing this for like, what, a few months?
718 number.
Look at Nardwar, the human serviette. Look at how much work he's done.
British Columbia, Canada.
Hey, Gav.
Hey, man.
Hey, listen, I just want to ask you have any opinions on the, like, Landau bolting from Compound Media thing? It's really annoying to me that he quits working with, like, a legend to go work with this guy. I'm not I was never a big fan of Crowder. He always appealed to me like the morning zoo type of the webcast, right? So he quits this show that kept him employed during a quarantine where all comedians have been sidelined literally to the perimeters of entertainment, and he just bolts through an email. And I know you're not a big fan of people working with comedians, and you're so accurate on that. And I'm trying to wrap my head around this little worm who bolted on this guy.
Well, we talked about this on the show the other day. We talked about it on the show. As Anthony's friend, and I don't know Dave that well, I obviously side with Anthony, and it is shitty. And I do think it's weird that Crowder would poach Kumia's sidekick. But on the other hand, from Dave Landau's perspective, You're making X amount of dollars. Say he's making 300 an ep. I don't know. And Crowder goes, I'll offer you 600 an ep, or maybe at 1,000 an ep. I mean, Landau's got a young kid. He kind of has to do it. That's business. If someone makes you a better offer, you got to go with it.
Is Anthony not moving as well? He's moving to North Carolina or South Carolina soon.
Yeah, what does that matter?
Well, I mean that because Dave then has to go there, or they would do it remotely. So
well, Crowder's in Texas.
Yeah, I understand that, but like, that's kind of like in limbo.
But Ryan,
so he has to move either way, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
So your point's retarded for a change, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We talked about this on the show yesterday. Look it up. Thanks for calling. I mean, that's what happened to me. I was offered 11 times my salary to go to Blaze. I was like, okay. I said to, you know what I did? I said to Keith, I just had this offer. Let's say it was $10. You're paying me $2. If you came back with $8, I could say fuck off to the $2. But you need to get within the same universe as this offer. And he's like, can't do it, dude. And I said to him, what would you do in my shoes?
Do.
I can't remember what he said, but I would be a bitch if I refused an 11 times offer. But I really wanted to be Anthony's sidekick. I actually offered my services up many times before my Blaze gig, but he didn't want me. I think it probably because we're both kind of alphas, so it would be like the Superman and Batman show, and that doesn't really make for because we're both competing. You need a Batman and a Robin, or in our case, a Goliath and a David.
Right. Remember the Artie days?
Yeah, that's interesting because Artie was kind of a Batman. It was a Superman Batman with him and Artie.
Well, he had a Batman. He was the Batman as far as reputation goes, but he wasn't. I think he was more of a Robin in the.
But I think Artie was such a drunken fuck up and such a meandering mess that it was clear Anthony was leading the show.
Right.
So it was like Superman and Batman after being hit by a truck. But if Artie was on his game 100% and had like a large breakfast and no heroin that day, he might be. What's Artie up to these days? I hear he's in his mother's basement doing absolutely nothing.
Maybe.
Is he doing heroin? And more importantly, does he have a septum?
Probably not.
Like, I want to take a night course in nose jobs so I can get in there and just add whatever they put up here, a little piece of plastic. I mean, I could use part of I could take the cover off my phone. I could take an L shape off my phone and just stuff it up there. His fucking nose looks like something out of Disneyland. Look at that. Click on that. Look at that thing. I mean, fix that.
Yeah, I've actually never
Look at
seen
that fucking picture.
a nose like that before, oddly enough.
That's he looks like he's at the zoo and he's pushing his face up against the glass to get a better look at the polar bears. Dude, fix that. Please.
Did I ever tell you about Tony Curtis?
I'll pay for it. If we did a GoFundMe and said we're sick of looking at this deflated sleeping bag of a nose, we'd raise $1 million overnight. Fucking Jesus. I don't care if he retires or even dies, but I don't want to see that weird bag of potatoes in the coffin.
Yeah, what if just whoever does the coroner or whoever?
Yeah, hey, coroners, if you ever get Artie Lange's body, can you put a toothpick in there or something? Put some tissue paper, anything. All right, next call.
Max. Or Mac. Sorry, that's my bad. Click. Mac, you're on the line.
Hey, boys.
Hey.
Hey, so we all know that Gavin has his greatest hits. And I think Ryan might have a potential one that he doesn't want to admit.
Uh-oh.
My friend died.
So
Say that often.
the only time he's ever told this story was, I think, when it was the audio-only version. And he's never told it since. And he owes it to the new viewers to tell the On Your Feet Soldier story.
Great point, caller. Thank you for calling.
Okay. I just, I get a lot of comments that say "On Your Feet, Soldier," and I'm numb to it. I forget. I forget
Just
the
tell
context.
the fucking story, please.
But the other day when I saw it, I was like, "What was that from again?" Or not? What was that from? But like, why do people keep saying it? And it's because of the cringiest story of my entire life. And my grandfather was drinking.
And let me just interject. When a Puerto Rican says their grandfather, think of your father. Like the guy's 50.
Yeah, he's a young, spry man
Yeah.
who could just kick ass.
Yeah.
And so he was drinking. This was years back, but he's been sober for a while now. But he was drunk, and he was feeling like a little suicidal. He was talking about suicide, right? And so and then my grandmother, she's like, Ryan, come upstairs. Your grandfather wants to talk to you. He's really in a bad way. And I was like, what's the matter? He's like, he's talking about like killing himself. And so I was like, oh my God.
Well, was there a particular event that had made him sad?
No, I think maybe the drinking and the memories and maybe doing regretful stuff throughout the years. There's a couple things. You know, we've seen him drunk before, and he reflects on bad. I mean, he's really functional for a Vietnam vet. You know, I mean, a lot of Vietnam vets do just fine, but the shit he saw was pretty fucked up. So he's probably just going through that. Just stuff that I saw was crazy. So he was like, come here, Poppy. He's like, man, I don't know. I don't think I can do this anymore or whatever, something like that. And he was
How old were you?
He was kind of weeping. Maybe like 15 to, not 17. From 15 to like 17.
Let's say 16.
Okay. That's fair. And so he was like, I don't know. He was crying. And then I was like, I grabbed his arm and I said, I was like, come on. I was like, get up on your feet, soldier. Trying to boost his morale.
Wait a minute. Don't dilute it. Didn't you stand up at like attention and bark at him, on your feet, soldier?
It was somewhere in between what I did and what that was. Yeah, I was like, on your feet, soldier, or something like that. And I actually said corporal. Corporal was put in there, and so I said his rank. He was a sergeant, but he got demoted for some shenanigans. Him and his buddies went out, and it's just the cringiest.
That's pretty
thing
embarrassing.
Like a little Asian twink telling a grown Vietnam vet
who had watched his friend's head come off.
Right.
And you're like, on your feet, soldier.
And then caused another man's head to come off. And I look like Charlie, too. He probably thinks I'm setting bamboo traps in the hallway.
Well, you know it's good when, like, 10, 20 years later, you remember it, you're lying in bed alone in the dark, and you go,
I blank it out like a sexual, like, assault. You know, like, I forgot.
You sexually assaulted yourself
Yes.
with gayness.
That's correct.
That's pretty good.
On your